Here we go.
All right.
You're all good. Go ahead, girl.
Okay, great. So yes, I had a feeling that was going to happen, and it kind of sucks you guys can't see me because I'm all animated. I'm going to get like past and stuff. But anyways, we'll make the best of it. So what I was saying before I got cut off was that I am not going to talk too much about my background story just because it doesn't have a lot to do with what I'm talking about tonight. But I will say, yes, I came into the business December 2014. I came in originally just wanting my Shakeology for free, and I came in January 2015 doing Insanity Max 30 full-on program where I got most of my results. And since then, up until this past January, I have been quite the half-asser, and that's kind of what I'm going to get to tonight. My whole theme tonight is serial half-asser to Rockin' Business Center because I am very open with the fact of I used to half-ass everything in my life, and that was anything, any aspect of my life. I would jump from hobby to hobby. I would get tired. I'd get sick of it. I half-assed my way through school. I always did the bare minimum because I just felt like, I was just kind of floating through life, just doing my priorities were screwed up and I wasn't taking care of myself. And that kind of obviously landed into my business when I first joined. Obviously we all get to coach when we want to coach. We all come in, for different reasons. For me, I really saw results, and my first round of 21-day fix, and I really wanted to get, the discount, obviously, and then it turned into me really finding this passion wanting to help people, like most of us. But I never really took it seriously. I mean, I went to summits. This will be my third summit this year. And I got to go on the Punta Cana trip this year, which I'll get to. But even before then, the past, 2 years, I never missed a Super Saturday. I always tried to do everything that I could event-wise because I'm very much of a social person. But the business side of things, I was definitely lacking. And I'm going to use Erica as an example. I'm Kelsey's oldest coach. I'm the only coach that she has from her original team. And, I would see, people like Erica and other coaches on the team come in and, hit these crazy goals and, hit diamonds super fast and all these things. And I kept saying I wanted to do that. And, and I was happy for them. But at the same time, to be Kelsey's oldest coach and be stuck at Emerald for 2 years, like, that felt shitty. And I really had nobody to blame but myself. So what changed for me, and this is what Kelsey wants me to touch on the most, is what changed for me. So, I went to 2 summits, and summits is absolutely life-changing. You will come on this fire when you leave. I mean, I would come out of summit and I would hit, super high in Success Club. I would do great, and then I would fall off. So what changed for me this year? So I decided, I had a long conversation with my boyfriend New Year's Eve, really what I wanted to get out of life. I was kind of having that moment of like, all right, where do I want to be? Like, where do I see myself? Like, where do we see us going? And I knew that Beachbody was something I was passionate about and I loved. And I was like, I'm going to go all in. And Kelsey, of course, didn't believe me, like always. And I don't blame her because I was a half-asser. I'd be so good. I'd be so on. And then the next thing, I would just fall off. I'd let life get in the way. It became work to me. If I wasn't always having fun, then I would just kind of back out. And that's what I did with everything in life for the longest time. Up until this journey, this is the first time that I've ever really gone all in on something. So in January, I messaged her literally the same, that I think it was January 1st. I messaged her and I was like, I'm going all in. So what changed for me and how did I pop diamonds in, the first 3 months? And, I've obviously been hitting Success Club. If anyone sees the board, or like Erica said, I haven't missed Success Club and I've pretty much hit 10 or above. My 2 greatest months, April and May, I hit 22 and 20, which I never, ever, ever in a million years thought was possible. So how did I do that? The first thing was I stopped looking at challengers as points. I know Kelsey's really big on the Life Changers Club, but for me, it was always like, you know, I wanted to help people, but at the same point, it was like I wanted to hit those points. I wanted to hit the Success Club, but I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was doing it because I wanted, you know, to be on the board. I wanted that recognition, but at the same time, those lives that I was changing, I wasn't doing anything with. So I really started building relationships. I started listening to goals and applying what I could do personally for them in order to get them to their goals. And I know Kelsey's a big opponent of this. She keeps saying, you know, using someone's goals to counter their price is the perfect way to get a no to a yes. And that's completely what I do 100% of the time now. I listen to people tell me they want to lose 20 pounds so they can, you know, feel great on their wedding day, or maybe they just want to feel better in a pair of jeans, or, I mean, feel good on the beach, or be able to run around with the kids, whatever it is. Like, I listen. And I make sure that I know exactly where they need to be, what program will work best for them. I ask them a million questions, and I, like Kelsey always says too, I ask them how it will feel to get there. And the minute that price becomes, you know, they're like, oh, you know, we can't, you know, I can't afford that, or that's too expensive. I'm like, yeah, but you just told me what you want, and how can you put a price on that? And it's a little bit of tough love, but I do ask them, you know, how can you put a price on the, you know, that happiness, or whatever they say, feeling confident, things like that. And I stopped focusing on persuading people to join. Kelsey always says too, you know, she gets a ton of no's a day, and I do too. And I know a lot of us other, you know, leaders on the team, like we get lots of no's. And the thing is that I stopped forcing those people to say yes. And it sounds crazy, but at the same time, I'll get to why. Because I realized that, yes, this opportunity is great. And yes, we want people to share. We want to share it with people. We want to share it with everyone. But if they're not ready and they're not willing, they're not going to succeed anyway. So that's why I really stopped spending time with the wrong people, because there are people out there that are willing and need more of your time. And so I kept seeing those ebbs and flows of where I would have people who would be on it, you know, for a month or a challenge or two, and the next thing you know, they drop off and they quit. And the thing is that they didn't want to be there in the first place. So they weren't personally in it. So then therefore, they're not going to be a lifelong customer. Yes, there are people who can change their minds, but they have to be willing to do the work. We're not going to be in a living room pressing play. We can do everything we can, but if they're not wanting to change, then we can't force them. And that's why a lot of the times I would sign up a bunch of people up, and the next thing you know, I would drop rank. I would sign people up, drop rank, sign people up, drop rank, because I was signing up people. I was literally being a salesman, and I was persuading them. Instead now, obviously, if someone says no, they go on a no list, and I come back, you know, a month later, I no longer push them. I always invite them, and I'll never forget about them, but I just don't push. It's a waste of time, in my opinion. In the past, my challengers never succeeded because most likely they didn't want to be there, or for the second reason I want to get at is they weren't engaged. You know, I really this year, I have focused on my challenge groups, and I know it sounds so simple, but it's life-changing in order to get them to want to stay lifetime customers. You know, I would run those challenge groups where I would have a decent amount of people, and then, you know, it'd be like crickets. And I'm like, why aren't they engaging? Why aren't they posting? Why aren't they doing this? Well, first off, they didn't want to be there in the first place. And second of all, I wasn't doing anything that I needed to be doing in order to get them motivated. So the biggest thing for me has been my challenge groups this year. Prep week is huge for me. If you don't do a prep week, I highly recommend doing it because it gets them started off on the right foot. It's a complete week that is nothing but just talking about food and different programs and what fits best for them, and meal prepping and grocery tips and all of that. And it's been a huge change for me because they feel ready and they feel confident. Consistently posting at the same time allows them to know when they can expect to hear from me every day. Same goes for business hours. I no longer try to randomly answer messages at different times because you'll burn yourself out, you'll stress yourself out. Probably another reason why I would always be on and then off, because I felt like it was just overwhelming. But same goes for your challenge groups. Now that we have the posting thing in there where you can actually schedule out your posts, it's a lifesaver, because I will make sure that I post, every morning, in the afternoon and in the evening, and they know that they can expect to hear from me. And then it takes the pressure off yourself in order to, feel like you have to be there every step of the way. And shout out to my coaches, because they definitely helped me on that too. And then don't overthink and don't play the comparison game. That's my next thing I want to talk about. And I know this has been a topic of conversation a lot of times, but seriously, like I said, I would always compare myself to other people on the team. Why are they hitting rank, when I'm not, da 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 da. And not even just within the team, but just, you look at other coaches and you're like, they're surpassing you. Me and Haley Christian pretty much came in at the same time, and she's obviously killing it. If you all know who she is, if you don't, you should follow her. But I mean, things like that can really get you down. So I've really this year have put my blinders on. I'm genuinely happy for every single person who achieves any sort of recognition or rank, and I no longer pressure myself to fit whatever mold somebody else is in. I know what I need to be doing, and I focus on what I need to be doing. And, I just put my head down and I do what I have to do. And that leads me to, before I get to my next thing, I want to talk a little bit about Success Club. So all these first things that I talked about, like not pushing people and, really listening to potential customers or challengers, or focusing on your structured groups. I mean, all of those things are going to get you to Success Club. I mean, one thing for your challenge groups, you never know who those people can invite. I've gotten a lot of customers from people saying, this challenge group is awesome, you should join us, to their friends or whatever. The same thing with, really listening to somebody, that goes a long way. And it sounds so easy, but it's so true. If you focus on these little tiny things, great success will come your way. I never in a million years thought I would hit Success Club 22. I never, ever, ever saw myself as that person until I realized that I was limiting myself, and I went for it. And no matter where I sit in any month, like right now, I'm only sitting at 6, but I know it will happen, and I believe it. So getting back to the thing that I wanted to talk about was, especially with posting or in anything in general, when you compare yourself. So I want to talk about the fact that, we're obviously all human and we're all flawed, and that is what makes us great. So no matter what somebody else is doing or not doing, or maybe you're doing this and they're doing that, it doesn't matter. In the fact that I've really this year started to be authentically me. And up until that point, I was really trying to do what I thought I was supposed to do, or what everyone else was doing. And now that I'm being authentically me, and I'm gonna throw the F-bombs out there, because that's just kind of who I am, and I'm gonna be bluntly honest, and I'm gonna talk about my past, I'm gonna talk about my abusive relationships that I've been through, and I'm gonna talk about being a reporter in the hour sucking, and whatever it is in your life, whether you think someone cares or not, there is somebody out there who can relate to you. And being authentically you will literally attract your tribe. So all the people that I signed up prior to this year, I'm not saying they're bad people at all, and I'm not saying, I don't know if I would have been friends with them or not, but the thing is that when you're yourself and you are just completely yourself on Facebook or in a conversation with somebody, or even on any type of social media or wherever it is, you will literally attract the people who are like you. Like, your vibe attracts your tribe. And I know everyone always says that, but it's so true. The people that are in my challenge groups are literally some of like my closest friends. Like my coaches that I brought on, I genuinely love them. Like I would hang out with them on a weekend with Beachbody not even coming into play. And that is the coolest thing that I've gotten out of this whole experience so far, is the fact that the people that I brought on are kick-ass. They're just like me. And they have the same sense of humor, and it's amazing. And it's all because I just decided to let go and just kind of break those chains and just be myself. And let's see what I have next. Talking about being authentically you, one of the things for me, and I don't know kind of how you guys are, but I'm a writer. So for me, my posts used to be like a source of such panic because I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted my grammar to be perfect. I wanted to pronounce things right if I was like live. I mean, God, if I had a pimple, like I would overthink everything, and that's just me in general. But I know that when you have that transformation picture on your phone and you're about to hit post, you feel like you want to vomit. I know that you take 500,000 selfies because you want to have the perfect lighting and you want to cover up the pimple, your dark eyes, or whatever it is. I get it, but here's the thing. If we're perfect, no one's going to relate to us. So now I just embrace it. And that's the hardest thing for me to do, especially even as a writer, is because I want to go back and I used to reread my posts like 1,000 times because I wanted it to be perfect. And now I just don't, because in the scheme of things, all of that time that you are spending on the perfect post or the perfect selfie or this or that, you could have been diving into your inbox and getting 2, 3 times, 4 times the amount of work that you could have been doing. So I know that whoever's heard Haley Christian before, and Kelsey said it again, you know, her whole thing is don't be a bitch, just hit send. And I literally live by that now. As soon as I heard that, I was like, that's me this year. Like, I am posting it. I don't care what it is or what comes out of it. And I think that has a huge part in who I've attracted. And then, like I said earlier, I mean, overall, like these small changes will allow you to create a place for lifelong customers and successful coaches. I've been very lucky to the fact of I didn't just hit like, you know, this quick. You know, I did in a sense, but at the same time, my downline is very stable, and I'm very thankful for that. And that is a huge part. It's not just signing up these random people. It's putting all these little small steps together in order to create a stable foundation. Because I know that, and I know that I personally know, because I used to drop rank all the time, is I would, hit emerald or whatever, and then I would drop out and hit emerald, and I get so close to diamond, and then I would drop. And it's because I wasn't creating this stable place for my customers and my coaches. And, obviously I still check my online office every morning, but I now no longer like really, really stress about it because I know that I'm in a good place, and I'm confident about my business. I'm confident about my coaches, and I'm confident about my challengers and what they're getting out of my groups, which is a great feeling. And I mean, it just becomes fun again. It's no longer a chore just because I'm being completely me. And, I just love that. And I was actually driving back from Boston not too long ago. My boyfriend was up there, and I was listening to Tony Robbins. I know we all know who he is. And I heard some of these quotes, and I want to share them with you because I was just mind blown. So one of the things that he was saying in his podcast was information without emotion isn't stored. So I'm going to say it one more time. Information without emotion isn't stored. And for me, when I heard that, like if I wouldn't have been driving in my car, it would have stopped me dead in my tracks, because it makes so much sense. When we put emotion behind our conversations with somebody, when we really listen to what they want to get out of this, why they want, to lose the weight or gain the muscle or whatever it is, if they are emotionally attached to that, they are going to remember you, whether or not they sign up right away. They're going to remember you as the girl who listened to them and listened to their problems and they're going to know that you can help them even if they're not ready right away. And the same thing goes for you and your why. If, you know, and your goals and your story, you put emotion behind that shit. Like, I know for me, like, I am so passionate about this, and I know a lot of us are, and I'm passionate about, you know, talking to people and getting other women out of situations where they feel like they, you know, don't belong, or they're never right, or they're constantly being put down. And I'm passionate about talking to people who want to get out of, you know, a crazy job where they feel like they're just a number, and whatever it is, you put emotion behind that, and you put emotion behind that in your conversations and on your Facebook posts or Instagram or wherever, and you're going to get traction. And, you know, just be you and tie that emotion into it. And that's what I was going to say. I have another note down here that just says you need to invoke emotion within yourself so that you can remember why to keep going or how you can help others. I know a lot of times, yes, it can be taxing. I'm not going to lie. I lost a lot of sleep hitting diamonds and getting to where I am because I wanted it and I knew I needed to do the work. You know, if I was I remember telling Kelsey one morning on a Tuesday call that I literally sat there and I invited 103 people because I wasn't sitting at Success Club. 103 people in one night, just sitting there because I wanted it that bad. And that's because I have emotion tied, and I know why I'm doing this. And like I said, the same thing goes for your challengers, because then they'll remember the information that you give them, and they both become invested. And then the last thing that I have is execution trumps knowledge. Execution trumps knowledge. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be completely honest. For the last 2 years, up into this year, I thought that I knew everything I needed to know about Beachbody. You know, I mean, I didn't walk around and act like that, but in my head, I knew what I had to do. And I would go to Summit, and I had notebooks and pages of everything. I would go to trainings in DC. I had everything in front of me. I just wasn't doing shit with it. And I didn't want to admit that to myself. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you realize that, like, you're not there because of you. When Kelsey tells you that you're not hitting Success Club, it has nothing to do with the people you're talking to. It has to do with you and, you know, your conversations and how much you're doing. I don't care where you're at right now. If you're not where you want to be, double the work that you're doing. And the thing is that if you really want it, you'll do it. And up until this year, you know, I just personally wasn't invested for whatever reason. I had everything in front of me. So you can literally know everything under the sun, but if you're not implementing any of it, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything because you're not doing anything with it. And to me, that was a big wake-up call, especially even when I heard that. Just because, I mean, like I said, even now I'm sitting at Success Club 6 and I'm not worried. I know I'll get to where I want to be. But it's like, okay, what can I do? What more can I do? So I just challenge you that to really invest your time, if this is something that you really want to do, you really have to invest your time. And right now I'm putting my head down and I'm going to work my ass off for the next year so that this time next year I can be full time. And like I said, do I lose sleep? Or, you know, it's hard. I'm a reporter just like Kelsey was. I work crazy ass hours. Sometimes I go in and I don't even know when I'm leaving, but I know that it's going to be worth it in the end. And like Kelsey said earlier in her video, she believes in all of us. And I know that she's not going to personally go anywhere. So why not? I mean, I don't know exactly why it took me this long to get where I'm at, but all I know is that I finally had that why not me mind shift, and I've done all these little simple things to make it happen. So, Erica, that's what I have.
You rock.
For you.
That was so awesome. I got some good points because I really struggle with some things that you're talking about messaging, you know. I loved that stuck with me too, the don't be a bitch, hit send, but I still catch myself being like, no, I'm not going to, you know.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, we all do. We're girls, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all get in that state where we second guess ourselves. But the thing is, if you guys get anything out of this, it's the time that you spend worrying about, in the whole scheme of things, we don't even know necessarily how many people are even going to see this post. That's the biggest thing for me. You can have the best post in the world, but not everybody is going to be seeing that. I mean, the algorithm for Facebook, I mean, people are still trying to figure it out to get on someone's timeline. What matters is what you do in the inbox. And if you're wasting time, making the perfect post, or, I guess it doesn't really apply if you're doing sponsored stuff, but if you're just wasting time reading an ordinary post about, your workout in the morning and if you look okay or whatever it is, I mean, those 20 minutes that you spread about that, you could have just invited 20 people.
Exactly.
So that's where I've gotten most of my work done.
I love that. And then another thing, just focusing, like in the business, we talk about not spending time on the tire kickers all the time. But I never really think about that as my challengers, because I think, they spent the money to sign up with me. I've got to help them. I've got to make them want this. But in reality, we can't make people want this. They have to want it for themselves, so we can help them. We can guide them. We can be there. We give them all the resources we give everybody else. But each week, I keep trying to pry at these people who have fallen off of my challenge group. They obviously don't want me. And as weird as that sounds. So we've got to put that through our heads that we have to give them the love and the support and all the tools. But some people just, this isn't for everybody, but it's for anybody. So that's why we have to share it with everybody.
And I think that's another huge point, a turning point for me, was because I would get to the point where I was like becoming desperate, and it's like, I wouldn't want to probably buy from me either, because not only was I not listening to the people that I was talking to, I was promoting these sales and this and that, and it's a great deal and it's going to change your life. But the thing is that, when they did sign up, I was pressuring them into buying something that they weren't even ready for. And the thing is that there's so many people out there that are ready, that do want it. And the longer time you waste on the people who don't really want it, not only is that going to screw up the foundation of your business, because so many people are going to fall off, but you're going to miss out on all those people who really do want it. And the same goes for bringing on coaches. I didn't even get to that point. The same thing goes for coaches. You can give any coach on your team every single thing that they need in order to succeed, but if they're not ready to run with it, just like I wasn't ready when I first came in, Kelsey could have probably punched me in my face like 3 times, because she gave me everything I needed, but I didn't run with it until my own mind shift clicked and it happened. And the same thing goes with our coaches now. Anyone that has a personally sponsored coach on this team, you can give them whatever you want, but that doesn't always click for them until they're ready. And that's why we constantly need to be adding to our teams too. That's another point that I didn't even get to.
I love it. All right. Does anybody have any questions for her before we jump off here? We still have 5 minutes on this little timer.
Nobody?
You can chat. You can put it in the chat and I can read it to her if you don't want to unmute.
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so if anyone.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I will post this recording in the team page if anybody wants to rewatch it, or for those people who missed it. Oh, hold on. We've got a comment. Oh, just some thank yous. So thank you
guys.
And
Sorry, am I having technical difficulties, but hopefully everyone could hear me fine. And, I just want to throw this out there too, that, if I can do this, like if this half-assed girl who lived her life that way can hit Success Club 22 and hit Diamond in a couple of months, literally everyone can. And I don't care who you are, if you've never met me, or maybe you've known me for a long time, I'm more than welcome to always talk to anybody if they just kind of need a good kick in the ass and kind of want to know, tips on how to make it happen. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, technically our team call is ending at, 8:36, and we normally go to 9. So I challenge you to use the next 20 20 minutes. I'll give you 4 minutes to, get prepared. Just the 20 minutes that we have extra that we don't normally have, even if you're done with your power hour for the day, use it. Make connections, not fake connections. Don't just copy and paste. Chat with people. Make connections for the next 20 minutes and close your inbox and see if you have notifications in the morning. It's the best.
Yes, I love that.
It's the best feeling in the world to wake up and be like, oh, people reply to me. So I'm not telling you to stay up till midnight and answer people unless you're going for a certain rank or something by tonight. I'll be staying up. Okay. Or if you need some extra motivation with that, message me. I'll be staying up. But if you're, just doing extra power hour and you already have yours done, 20 minutes, close your inbox and see what you've got in the morning and make some real connections. All right? Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks, Katiann.
Yep, bye.